Today I'm testing a new wave of products from a little known brand named Refoss, all with local open API access and most impressively, energy monitoring built in. Hi, I'm James and I've been building out my smart home with products from just about every manufacturer out there, figuring out what works and what doesn't. And never have I seen a brand show such a clear focus on the core principles of how I, at least, think a smart home product should work. See, they've informed me that from July 14th, Refoss are launching Open API support for all of their new energy monitoring products, including these smart relays and switches, and a host of other products to come, including a dedicated energy monitoring device which will handle monitoring up to 6 separate circuits in your home, up to 150 amps each. But what does it all mean? Well, mainly that they won't force you to sign up to a cloud account just to add your device. And most importantly, the devices won't get killed off one day when the company decides it wants to make more money from you on new devices. So now we've covered why this is a good thing, let's focus on the products that they've sent me for review. The R11 series of relays and plugs. These are essentially the exact same devices in different form factors. And since I'm in the UK and I could only dig up one of the adapters I needed to test this plug, I'm going to focus on this neat little relay. Now skip ahead to wiring it up, as you don't get much else in the box but a manual, and I'm simply going to wire it up to a plug for some testing. Now this is a wet contact relay, so the voltage that you power it with is the voltage that you get on the output, and they have rather nicely given us a second live and neutral terminal each, which is actually quite nice when it comes to wiring this up to a light or something, as it reduces the number of connections that you need to make in Waggos. Other connectors are available. Now, full disclosure, at this point I had a lot of trouble trying to connect the device to my network. I connected to the Wi-Fi network that it broadcasts, went to its IP address, tried to configure my Wi-Fi credentials, but at this point it would kind of crash and refresh the page every time. And it turns out that someone near me has a Wi-Fi network name with a funny character or something, which causes this section of the web page to crash when it loads the Wi-Fi list for you to select. So to get around this, I installed the Refoss app and set it up that way, which worked fine and allowed me to update the firmware to hopefully fix that issue anyway. However, this isn't a great start, because not only was there a bug, but to get around it, I ended up having to create an account with them in their app, the very thing I was hoping to avoid. Hopefully future devices will be up to date and avoid that Wi-Fi bug. But as you can see, if you do run into this problem, once added to the app, it does prompt you to update it fairly quickly. Anyway, once that's all done, we can now head over to Home Assistant to install the Refoss integration and go through the process of adding it. As it currently stands, in order to make use of their new Open API, you will need to install the Refoss RPC integration from Hacks. But I've been told that they are working with Home Assistant to get this integration certified as works with Home Assistant, so it will hopefully come pre-installed in future versions. Once Home Assistant has rebooted, we head over to Settings, Devices, add an integration and search for the Refoss RPC integration, and we'll paste in the IP address of the device here, which you can find from the app or from your router. And boom, you now have your first Refoss device added using its local API. And as you can see, there's a lot of useful information here, including all the energy monitoring information and a host of other stuff like overheat state, overcurrent, and a lot more useful stuff. So with that added, I'm now going to take a quick spin around the web UI on the device itself by going to its IP address again, but in my browser. But you could also navigate to this in their app if you prefer. But once again, you can immediately see the useful information about power usage and a few indicators at the top to show where it's connected. You can set up actions directly on the device, which will run completely locally to the device. Home Assistant doesn't even need to be running. You can set up schedules and timers here as well. But what I'm most interested in now is the settings. In here, you've got a bunch of other options once again, and you can update the software from here too. But I want to set up MQTT to my Home Assistant server to see if I can get it connected. Now, I spent a while trying to get these settings just right, and it turned out I completely missed the port off the end. So after tinkering with this a load and rebooting it repeatedly and it not connecting to my Home Assistant server, I found that all I needed to do was put the port number on the end here and it connected just fine. Now there is a bunch of information on the Refoss documentation website about MQTT, so if you want to learn more about how to use it, head on over there and I'll try and remember to put the link in the description. So now that I have this relay configured, the question remains, what am I going to use it for? Well, I have a few dehumidifiers upstairs, and 2 out of 3 notify me when they're full, despite being dumb ones. And that is because they are plugged in via smart plugs which monitor energy usage. See, one of the many handy things that you can do with live energy data is to notify when a device finishes running, or in my case, stops because it's full, or some pesky little fingers switched it off. So I'll be replicating this automation that I created for the one in my kids' room, so it can notify me when it needs emptying. So thanks again to Refoss for sending me these, as this finally completes the trio of dumb to smart dehumidifiers in my home. So if you'd like to pick up either of these products, there will be links to both over on my website as always. And as an affiliate, I will earn a small commission at no cost to you, so thank you for supporting the channel. And in fact, they have given me a discount code for you guys to save 10%. Just enter HIWTSI, HIWTSI 10 at checkout, and I'll put that down in the description too. As always, if you liked this video or found it at all useful, be sure to like it and subscribe for future videos just like it. And remember, home is where the smart is.